22nd of July, Rabbi Furst, Pirkei Avos.
Oh, good morning, Lou. How are you today?
Baruch Hashem, thank God my internet is working again.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I saw your thing about the newsletter. I'll see if I can't send you something out after we're done here today.
All right, that'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to remind you earlier in the week.
Yeah, no, I was planning on it, but I wasn't sure if you'd be doing because your internet's out. But if it's working, we're back on schedule. Yeah, I'll try something here.
Great, thank you.
Good morning, Roy.
Good
How are you
morning,
doing?
Rabbi Furst. Good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Roy. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
I think I will need it if you have nearby a chumash with bereshis also. We need a midbar and also with a bereshis, chumash bereshis as well.
No, but I can get it.
How's Yosef doing, Lou?
Thank God. Thank God. The medicine is working. He has a what do you call it? A fungus infection. But the medicine is
I'm reading
working.
the scroll.
Let's have a first flavor.
Let's see. I can't hear anything. at the moment.
Let's begin. We'll start. This week's Parsha is Matos. The pasuk we want to concentrate on is pasuk. Let's see. Pasuk Vav. That would be Perek Lamed Aleph. Perek Lamed Aleph. Pasuk Vav.
Lamed Aleph Vav. David Hey Vav. I think I've got it. I'm not too sure. It is V'yishlach Aton Moshe.
Yes. If you want to get a running start and start with the first pasuk in Lamed Aleph, to me it's worthwhile
Okay.
getting a learn. Let's get a running start. Yeah. Roy or Lou, anyone like to read?
Lou can go. I'm out of breath. I just come up from stairs from
Right.
shopping.
Oh boy, those stairs, a lot of stairs to your house. Okay. Vaydeber Hashem el Moshe lemor. Hashem spoke to Moses saying, Nekom nikmas b'nei Yisrael. Avenge the vengeance of the children of Israel. Me'es ha-midyanim. From the Midianites, Achar te asef el mecha, and afterwards, you will be brought to your people.
Yeah, actually gathered. You'll be gathered. to your people.
Gathered. Okay, gathered. Te asef is gathered.
That must be the girls. Who is it?
Okay. Vaydeber Moshe el Ha'am lemor. Let me just close the door. My grandchildren just arrived. Okay, sorry about that. Moses spoke to the people saying, Hey chal tzu may eat chem anashim latzava. Arm men for war, or for the army. Vayu al midyan lases nikmas Hashem b'midyan. That they may be against Midian to inflict Hashem's vengeance on Midian. Elef lemata, 1,000 from a tribe, 1,000 from a tribe. L'chol Matos, from every tribe, Yisrael of the Jews. Tishlechu latzava, you will send them to the army. Vayimasru me alfei Yisrael elef lemateh shneim asar elef chalutzei tzava. Okay, and so they delivered from the thousands of Israel, 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed for the army. V'yishlach Osam Moshe elef lemate latzava, and Moshe sent 1,000 from each tribe to the army. It's the third time he said it.
That's another story, right?
Osam v'es Pinchas, them and Pinchas, ben Elazar, son of Elazar, HaKohen, the Kohen, Latzava, to the army. Uchlei HaKodesh HaVachatzotros HaTeruah Biado. And the holy vessels and the trumpets for blowing under his authority. Okay, we should go up to 7. V'yitz ba'u al Midian, and they assembled against Midian. Kasher tziva Hashem, like that Hashem had commanded. Es Moshe, Moses. Vayahar gu, and they killed kol zachar, every male.
Very good. Okay, let's stop there. Let's look at the Rashis on Pasuk Vav. Okay.
Pasuk Vav. Okay, let's see. Where is that? It's a long Rashi. Wow. Okay.
We'll take it slow. Don't worry. Don't be intimidated.
As long as I have you, as long as you have my back, Rabbi, I'm okay. Osam v'es Pinchas, them and Pinchas. Magid, this tells us Shehaya Pinchas Shakul Keneged Kulam, that Pinchas was as important as all of them, as the rest of them. Umipnei ma halach Pinchas, and why did Pinchas go?
I mean, why specifically Pinchas, right?
Right. Why was it Pinchas that was put in charge of this particular war? Velo halach Elazar, and Elazar did not go. Why is Pinchas going and not Elazar? Elazar is Pinchas' father?
No, Elazar is one of the sons of Aaron. He was the Kohen Gadol.
He was the Kohen Gadol. That's why he should have gone. He was the Kohen Gadol.
He was the Kohen Gadol, right?
Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, Mi shehis chil b'mitzvah.
And good morning.
Who was it that that began the commandment? Sheharag Cosby Vas Tzur, that he killed Cosby, the daughter of Tzur. Yigmor, let him finish it. Okay, so Hashem said, Pinchas started this war. Let him finish it.
Right. So we have to think about what is the basic principle that, I mean, this is a general rule, right? Person who starts a mitzvah, he's supposed to finish it. We see this halacha by Tikiyah Shofar, that if a person started blowing the, as you know, there are basically on Rosh Hashanah we blow 100 blasts. The 30 blasts we blow before Musaf, 30 during the repetition of Musaf, another 30 after the conclusion of Musaf, and another 10 at the very conclusion of the davening. So it's mentioned in the halacha that if a person started doing those first 30, right, he should also finish it up. They tell him, you started the Mishnah, Mitzvah, you should finish it up. So it's applicable in various different contexts and circumstances. So the question is, what's the basic underlying principle for that? Any ideas? We can discuss it for a few minutes.
Whatever you start, you should take responsibility for that, and you can't run away from what you've started. You should finish it off. Yes.
So when a person's going to even though it could be done by other people, right? You're mentioning, like, even if it's other people also qualified and able to finish it. Nevertheless, you should do it yourself. You should finish it yourself.
Right, unless it's a sort of thing where somebody who's much better than you would have more success at it. So, for example, if Pinchas wasn't quite as good as Eleazar, just for example, they were equal apparently. But say that one wasn't, that Pinchas was not quite as good as Eleazar, then since it's a battle, a war, Eleazar would be obviously should finish it off.
You should finish it off. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd like to argue the opposite, which
But
would
the
be
worst one would do it.
No. It's for your first point, which is you said that, well, he started it, he should finish it. But the I'm sorry, what? Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what were you trying to emphasize? I just want to ask you a question. What was the point you were trying to emphasize with your explanation?
My point was that it's a team effort.
I wanted to ask Roy for a minute before. Hold on for a second.
Go ahead.
For the first point, that if you start something, then you should take responsibility for it and complete it. Let's assume that you're able to do that. You shouldn't start something if you're not able to complete it. But perhaps some cases you should start something and hand it over to somebody else to complete. Everything has its own merits, but basically that which you start, you take responsibility for it and you complete it.
So, because what you're saying reminds me of something that Rav Scheinberg used to say many times. There's a chazal, kol haskalas koshes. All beginnings are difficult. All beginnings are difficult. So, Rosh Shiva Zechron Baruch used to ask, if you look around, we see really the opposite, right? We see usually people are very eager to start things, and people jump into things and they start things. But of the percentage of people that start things, how many percentage of those people actually finish what they do? Seems like it's harder to finish something than to start something. There are many things that are started but not finished, like as you're mentioning, like to begin something and able to take that responsibility to see it through to the end is a big responsibility. So the Rishiva would explain that we're talking about what Chazal say, call it Chaskalas Kashas, is that Chazal are teaching us something that when you begin something, you're supposed to begin it in a way that's going to have all the elements and needed components that will ensure that it's going to be finished. I mean, it's not simply enough to start something, right? You must, in your beginning, have all the elements and necessities that are required to finish it. And that's something which is difficult. To be able to start something with all the ingredients that are there for its eventual success, that's a difficult thing.
Right.
Just simply starting something is not so difficult, but starting something that's going to come to fruition, it's going to come to a successful end, right? That's a difficult thing.
So does that mean that those things that you put in place to come to a successful end can be then used by anybody else, or is it meant to be used by you?
Well, so that brings us to this a corollary. This statement here that they say to a person, "Amatil b'mitzvah," that he should finish it, right? So, and that's what we're still trying to find out a little bit more. I'm not still satisfied with if I understand it. I mean, I'm not sure if I'll ever understand it fully, but I just want to understand it in some way. What is the basic premise assumption that it lies behind this statement that Chazal are teaching us? When you speak to a person who started a mitzvah, you tell him that he should finish it, right? That is that something like it's a merit that he has that privilege? Is it something he has a privilege of doing because he started? He has the privilege of doing it. Could be. Is it like you said that since a person who started something, we could maybe assume that he'll have the enough of the willpower and eagerness and all the other ingredients needed to finish it through? Also, perhaps, I don't know.
I'm laughing because, I mean, an example could be you're helping a little lady across the road, but you leave her there halfway through and go off on your own.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's an illustration, a viable. That's an illustration. It's funny, but yeah, or you take responsibility for the education of an orphan, and then you go off and leaving the poor orphan on his own.
Right.
Yeah. Without sort of making sure that he's got somewhere to go, etc., 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 etc.
Right. Correct. I mean, those are very good things in terms of the context of our daily lives, right? But here, the prime example that we're being shown here is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is picking Pinchas. And the reason why he's picking Pinchas, or at least one of the reasons he's picking Pinchas, is because he started the mitzvah. Since he started the mitzvah, as you said, he started this war, so he is entrusted now with the responsibility of finishing it. Lou, you wanted to say, had something to say on the subject or something?
Yeah, I was saying that the other perspective is that it's a team effort. Pinchas is not on his own. He's part of the Jewish people, and the war with Amalek, with Moab,
Median, yeah.
and with Midian is something that affects everybody.
Right.
Just to take the two examples that Roy just gave, you're walking the little old lady across the street, and someone else comes and meets you in mid street and says, I'll take it from here. And he walks you the rest of the way. And that way you can be on your business, and you don't have to cross back across the street after you've left her and be by yourself. And the education is even a better example. You're not necessarily qualified to do the entire education. You may need to hire teachers and get involved with groups to finish that job. I don't think that takes away from your mitzvah that you're part of a team that's helping this child to get educated.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, yeah, I think we're talking about a situation where everything else is being equal. I mean, in truth, the person we'll assume the person who started the mitzvah was qualified to start and finish the mitzvah. If he was not qualified to start, then he shouldn't have started. If he wasn't qualified to start and finish, then it was understood he wouldn't be able to finish the mitzvah anyway, right? But for example, the case I gave you with Tekiah Shofar. So he's qualified to blow shofar, and therefore he has the I'm not sure if you want to call it the right to finish it, but here we see like Hashem is saying that Pinchas is being chosen, is being handpicked, so to speak, by Kadosh Baruch Hu, because he began the mitzvah. He began that mitzvah.
Mhm.
Just I'll tell you anyway. Just since we got talking about crossing people in the street, you might have heard this from me before, but I'm just throwing this in on the by the way. I remember I was in my neighborhood. I was working on one side of the street, and it's a busy street, especially in the morning, 7:30 to 9. Buses are coming, tenders are taking the children. People are coming in to and from davening. Children are going to school. Women are out buying stuff from the supermarket. The kids are going to the gang, waiting for their buses. So I was watching. There was this one lady. She had a baby carriage, and there was a baby in there. Maybe 8 months old or so, a little baby. And she had two boys, one on the left side of the carriage and one on her left side of her. And there was the little one. The little one was holding on to the carriage. He was about 2 years old. And then he had his 4-year-old brother on the other side of holding on to his mother, right? And so the mother wants to cross the street. And as I said, it's a busy. Buses are coming, trucks, cars, cabs, everything is going back and forth in both directions. So the mother's standing by the sidewalk, and she's looking left and right and left, and getting ready to, when the traffic would take a break, she's getting ready to cross, her and the 3 children. And so she says, okay, let's get ready. Looking this way, that way, the traffic clears. Says 1, 2, 3, let's go. Right, so she goes and starts walking into the street with a little carriage, and the 4-year-old, after he heard his mother say, "Let's go," the 4-year-old said, "No." And so she's walking out in the middle of the street, and the 2-year-old, who does he listen to? Is his mother or his brother? The 4-year-old smart aleck. He listens to his 4-year-old smart aleck brother and says, "No," doesn't want to go across the street. This poor woman's out there a quarter way into the street with her in a baby carriage, with her two little kids standing back there, halfway on the sidewalk, halfway not. Mother said, "Let's go," and he says, "No, we're not going." Crazy kids. What can you do?
What happened?
Anyway, so just know sometimes people need help crossing the street. It's you never know when someone needs help crossing the street, and it's not necessarily somebody who's a little bit old. Sometimes you see these mothers; they're burdened with Baruch Hashem. They have kids, little kids, a little bit bigger kids, and it might be smart aleck kids as that. and maybe have some packages to carry too. So sometimes it's, you see that they're in a little bit of a difficult situation. Doesn't hurt to see you need some help. Want me to take one of the kids across the street for you? She might just maybe she'll say yes. You never know. Never know.
So let me ask you this question. Let's say Pinchas is not in any way qualified to be the commander of the army,
Right.
and he knows it. But he feels that he needs to take this action, even though he can't complete it, he can't be the commander of the army. What should he do? Should he say, "Well, I can't complete it, so I'm not going to start it"?
Well, he started it by killing Zimri. Okay, that was number one. Okay,
Right.
So, but now Kadosh Baruch Hu, he's being drafted by Kadosh Baruch Hu. He's got no choice. Right? He says you're going. Right? You can't say no to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Right?
Well, presumably, if he was totally not qualified, Hashem would not tell him to go.
Absolutely, yeah, 100% for sure.
So what I'm saying is, given that, should he have not done anything?
What do you mean? I mean, originally?
Yeah. You said if a person can't complete it, he shouldn't start it.
Maybe he didn't think that far, he wouldn't think that far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that Pinchas couldn't have imagined that there would be a full-fledged war. I don't think that he was as Roy said. I don't think he was capable of understanding that there would eventually be a full-fledged war about this.
And even if he did, he would know that there are other people qualified to do it, but he has to do this because that's more important than the alternative.
Yes. So that's part of the question. Meaning, was this something that was a privilege? Because Pinchas started the mitzvah, he's privileged to finish it, or is there something else beyond that? I'm not sure. Simply speaking, I would say that it's probably a privilege, right? But the question is, does a person have a right to bypass? If it's a privilege, can a person bypass his privilege? Then can he say, I would prefer not? That's something else that needs to be understood. It's a little bit further than we're going to be able to get to today, I think. But that's part of the question here. What's the basic assumption that we're operating under here? That could be that if Hashem is picking Pinchas to lead the war now, that's his privilege.
But what I'm focusing on is the decision to do the mitzvah initially. It seems to me that it's really not relevant whether he can command the army or not. What's relevant is that he sees that Zimri and Cosby need to be executed, and he says, "I'm gonna start this mitzvah. I don't know how it's going to end, but I'm going to do what I can right now to start the mitzvah, and I'm part of the Jewish people, and I'll we'll figure out later who's going to finish it."
Right. Okay, look, I just something to think about. I haven't worked it out completely yet. Just something I'm thinking about here. But let's leave that for the time being, and let's continue on with the Rashi. Next, Rashi makes another, maybe even more an astounding point. Rashi brings down here.
Okay. So Devar Acher, alternatively, Shehalach Linkom Nikmas Yosef. that he went to avenge Yosef, Avi Imo, the ancestor of his mother.
Right, the father of his mother, whether he's actually the direct father or the grandfather, that's another story. But yeah,
I thought his mother was from Yisro.
so take a look at the take a look at the first Rashi in Parshas Pintus, if I'm not mistaken. Rashi, I think, says over there.
Yeah, it says that his grandfather fattened calves, right?
Right.
And that's from his mother, no?
Avi Imo, Rashi says Avi Imo, right? That was, but okay. Look, you have to look at the first pasuk of or the second pasuk. Pinchas ben Eliezer ben Aaron, right?
Right.
So look at the Rashi. Rashi says the Fisham Hashvatim Mevazino. So since the Shvatim were disgracing him.
Right. It said he's the son of Puti.
Right. Avi Yogol. Aliyam Avodas Kochavim Bahardo Nasi. He killed his Nasi who saved in Israel because of Yakas Akar Aaron. Right. That the because of the pasuk, the liturgy of the pasuk is going after Aaron. That's why it mentioned he was a ben Eliezer, right? Who was a ben of Aaron.
Right.
So that's in terms of his father, right? Now here, right, says Nicholas Yosef Avi Imoy. So Yosef was the father of his mother.
All right, let's read on a little bit and see if maybe it's going to answer it. Shnei Amar, it says, V'hamidyanim machro oso, and the Midianites sold him. Uminayan, and from where? Shehaisa imo shel Pinchas Michel Yosef, that the mother of Pinchas was descended from Yosef. Shnei Amar, as it says, Mibenos Putiel, from the daughters of Putiel. Mizera Yisro, of the seed of Yisro, She Pitem Agalim La'avoda Zara, who fatted calves for idolatry.
Right.
Umizera Yosef, and the seed of Yosef, She Pate Be Yitzro, who opposed his drive.
Right.
So it's a play on words.
Sure. Well, if you have a chumash, if you want to look at the chumash Shmos, that's where Rashi's mentioning here is in Parshas Vayera in Shmos Perek Vav Pasuk Chaf Hey. That's where it gives the lineage of Pinchas over there. Right. So it says Eliezer ben Aaron lekach es midos Putiel. So Eliezer, who was the son of Aaron, he took from the Minos Putiel, who was ostensibly that was Yisro, from the Minos Yisro, right? And Laisha took from them Yisha and Taylor Lo Pinchas, and they gave birth to Pinchas.
So it seems like what it's saying is that he wasn't a a blood descendant. He was a spiritual descendant of Yosef.
In some way, it's a little bit hard to, get a little bit more of a deeper explanation of that.
It says, I've got here that it says that she that Phineas's mother was of the family of Joseph, because it is said that she was one of the daughters of Putiel, which is explained to mean that she was of the seed of Jethro, who used to fatten calves for idolatrous purposes, and of the seed of Joseph, who overcame his passions.
Right. So why is she the seed of Yosef who overcame his passions? Because the word for passions is peit.
Mm.
And that's like Putiel. So it's saying that she was a spiritual descendant of Yosef.
Mm.
Yeah, the footnote says Putiel here is interpreted as deriving from Peit, opposing or disparaging. It is seen as a contradiction of Peit Baal, opposed to God, for the drive to do evil is referred to as a foreign god.
Right. So it's not clear. I mean, apparently, if you learn Parsha Pshat, is it supposed to mean a physical lineage or a spiritual lineage? If it's spiritual lineage, so we understand that. Okay, that's okay. We understand that. But does Rashi really mean that it's a spiritual lineage that is being referred to over here?
Well, if he doesn't, then why does he end with Shepit Peit B'Yitzro? That's irrelevant.
Well, that's the name. The name of his mother was from Putiel, right?
Right, but it's referring to Yosef and saying Yosef overcame his drive. What does that have to do with the lineage? Unless it's saying that it's a spiritual descent, that Pinchas had the same quality of overcoming his drive.
Yeah.
Or Putiel or Yisro had the same quality. I don't know.
Right. It's not exactly clear. So, all right, let's leave that as something which needs a little bit.
So the point is that Pinchas had an alternative reason for fighting, for being the general, because he wanted to avenge Yosef.
Right. Now it's the Rashbam says in Baba Basra that Mibenos Putia, that Ishto, that is his wife, right? Eliezer, who was the ben of Aaron, took an Isha from Mibenos Putiel, meaning the mother, right, of Pinchas was married to Eliezer, and so she, right, was from Yisro and Yosef, And again, don't forget, every person has a father and a mother, right? Everyone has a father and mother. So the mother was from Yisro and from Yosef.
But she can't have two fathers.
No. So the father was from Yisro, right? And her mother was from Yosef.
No, the other way around. Pinchas' father was Eliezer.
Right.
He was from well, actually he wasn't from Yosef. He was a Levite, right?
Right, but that's from his father. Who was his mother though?
Who was Eliezer's mother?
Yeah.
I don't think we know that, do we?
Well, they're from Yosef, came from somewhere from Yosef.
Okay, that could be. But okay, so the Yisro is coming through Pinchas's mother, and Yosef is coming through Pinchas's father.
Apparently, right.
Okay.
All right. Now, sorry. Now, what Pinchas's act was off the cuff. Was what do you call it? It was on the spur of the moment, wasn't it? He didn't consider it. He didn't sit down and think, "I'm going to do this now," and when he did it. But he could have. He could have gone in and pulled them apart and set them to trial.
Yeah.
I don't think it's true that he didn't consider it, because number one, he went to Moshe Rabbeinu and he asked Moshe Rabbeinu, isn't it correct that a zealous person can take action in a situation like this?
No, it's true. Yeah.
And then the second thing is that he didn't go right away. He concealed he took the spear apart, concealed the head of the spear, and then he waited until the evening or the late afternoon before he approached the Shimonite camp. And he had to get into the Shimonite camp by saying that he wanted also to be involved in lust.
Right.
So he had to sneak in, and only once he got in did he reassemble the spear and take action.
Right. So good. So that brings us to the point here that he was supposed to take the Nakama from Yosef, right?
Right.
And it says Yosef, and Yosef was the father of his mother, right? Yosef was the father of his mother, right? So he wanted to take.
I thought,
So the
wait,
question is-
didn't we say Yosef came through his father?
Excuse me?
Didn't we say Yosef came through his father, through Eliezer?
No, Eliezer. Well, it could be. The Rashi's not speaking. I think he's not speaking in the direct generation. It might be just skipping a generation or two, meaning going back 2 or 3 generations, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm very confused now.
So take.
We said that Pinchas' mother was the daughter of Yisro. So how could she go back to Yosef?
Right. So it could. Don't forget Yosef. You don't forget Yisro. Don't forget Yisro only came on the scene after, like 210 years after Yosef was dead, was Nifter. Yisro didn't come onto the scene until after we came out of Mitzrayim.
Right.
Yosef lived 210 years before that.
Right.
So Rashi's not speaking about the direct father, direct mother here.
Uh-huh.
He's really referring to previous generations.
So why does he specifically say Pinchas' mother was from Yosef?
Because he's not going to go back and say that it was his great grandmother. Right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh, but now if you have your Chumash, Bereshis,
Mhm.
and if you look in chapter Lamed Zayin, let's start with Pasuk Chavav, Lamed Zayin 37, Chavav 23.
37.
Lamed Zion 37, Kaf Vav 23. Kaf, where's Kaf?
26, I'm sorry. 26.
26. Vav 26. Okay, I've got it. Let's see.
Let's read the psukim till Chav Ches till 28. Let's go through 26 through 28.
Vayomer Yehuda el Echav, Yehuda said to his brothers, Ma detza ki naharog es achinu. What benefit is there if we kill our brother? The chisinu es damo, and cover his blood. Lechu v'nim kerenu, come let us sell him, liyishmaelim, to the Ishmaelites, v'yadenu al tihi vo, and our hand should not be upon him, ki achinu, because he is our brother. Bisarenu, who? He is our flesh. V'yishma'u echav, and his brothers listened to him.
Okay, very good. Next pasuk.
Okay, v'ya'av ru anashim midyanim socharim. Okay, so Midianite men passed by. Uyim shehu v'ya'alu, and they lifted up as Yosef, min habor, from the pit. V'yim karu es Yosef, and they sold Yosef li'Yishmaelim, to the Ishmaelites, be'esrim kesef, for 20 pieces of silver. V'yavi'u es Yosef meets Rima, and they brought Yosef to Egypt. Now that's weird. It says the brothers said, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. And then what? The Midianites came and found him without the brothers being there?
Yeah.
And they sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver?
Yeah, the pasuk is difficult, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Rashi says
Yeah, that's right. Take a look at Rashi. Go
it was
ahead.
a different caravan. And Joseph was sold many times. they pulled. The sons of Jacob pulled Yosef from the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites, and the Ishmaelites to the Midianites, and the Midianites to Egypt. Well, that's not what it says. Rashi, how can Rashi contradict the pasuk?
Right? That's one thing we have to try and understand. I'm not sure we'll have time to fully understand it. We'll have to wait until we get to Breshis next time, Hashem. But or you can work it out on Shabbos. Shabbos, you have a lot of. I'll give you some homework to work out on Shabbos.
There's always more to do, Rabbi. Always more to do.
There is. There's plenty. There's plenty. V'avru anashim Midian sochrim. So they passed by the men from Midian who were merchants. So yimshechu. So Rashi says yimshechu. So who's yimshechu? So Rashi's telling you who was yimshechu. Who pulled them up? The Bnei Yaakov. The Bnei Yaakov pulled Yosef up out of the bur. Va'alu, and they pulled him up and out. So the Bnei Yaakov pulled him up and out of the bur, right? The Yishmaelim, and the Bnei Yaakov gave him to the Yishmaelim, right? And the Yishmaelim gave him to the Midyanim, and the Midyanim took him down to Mitzrayim. So that makes sense, no?
So in other words, the Midianites were there in one caravan, and they were camped out for the night, and the Ishmaelites were there in another caravan, and they were camped out for the night, and the brothers pulled Yosef up out of the tent, took him over to the Ishmaelites, and sold him, and then the Ishmaelites took him over to the Midianites and sold him to them. Is that what we're saying?
Apparently, according to Rashi,
and Rashi says he was sold many times. This only explains that he was sold 3 times.
right.
Harbe. I don't know if that means more than 3 times or 3 times is qualifies. Okay, so anyway, what's the point? Why are we reading this?
Oh, so our Rashi in our Parsha said that Pinchas was chosen. Why? That he should take Nikama, he should take vengeance upon the Midianites. Why?
Because they're the ones that seduced the Bnei Israel and brought them to idol worship.
No, he was taking vengeance for Yosef. He was taking vengeance for Yosef.
Oh, because the Midianites sold Yosef?
Well, look at our Rashi again. Take a look at our Rashi and look at what it says there again. Rashi says, right, that
Well, it's really pretty terse, Rabbi. It just says alternatively, because he went to avenge the vengeance of Yosef, the ancestor of his mother, as it says, the Midianites sold him.
right. So it says the Midianites sold him. So therefore, since the Midianites sold him, right, he wants to take. He's picked to take vengeance now. But did the Midianite, according to the Rashi and Bereshis, did the Midianites sell it?
No. Well, I guess yes, they did, but the Ishmaelites also sold him. So why only the Midianites? Why don't we take vengeance on the Ishmaelites also?
And the brothers sold him also. Who were the first ones who sold him?
Yeah, the brothers. But you don't expect Pinchas to take vengeance on the Jewish people because the brothers sold him.
Yeah. So why should he now take vengeance on the Midianites? Because they sold Yosef. So did in essence, did the Midianites do anything bad then? Did they do anything wrong?
Not really. They were just intermediaries. They were merchants. He was like a package of grain.
Right,
They bought him here, they sold him there. That's their business.
right.
They didn't mistreat him. In fact, don't we have a midrash that says that there was good smelling stuff?
Yeah, actually, to tell you the truth, that Rashi makes things even a little bit more difficult. Because it says that Rashi says that the Ishmaelim, the one who took them, because the Ishmaelim usually transport neft. They usually transport um, uh, kerosene, which doesn't smell very nice. So
Right,
this time the Kadosh Baruch Hu made it that they were transporting transporting the spices. So it made
right.
it pleasant for Yosef.
Well, who was transporting the spices? The Ishmaelites or the Midianites?
So if I'm not mistaken, let's take a look where the Rashi is. One second.
It says the Midianites sold them to Egypt. So presumably, based on the image that I have of this scenario, the Ishmaelites didn't take him anywhere. They just bought him and immediately turned around and sold him because those two caravans were both camped out by the pit.
Right.
So they bought him. They kept him maybe for a night, and then they were chit-chatting with the Midianites, and they said, "Oh, by the way, you want to buy this slave?" And they said, "Yeah." And then it was the Midianites that transported him, and they're the ones that had the good-smelling spices.
Well, I want to make things even more difficult for you. Take a look in Pasuk Lamed in chapter Lamed Tes, first chapter.
In Bereshis,
Yeah.
Lamed Tes, Lamed Tes, Lamed Tes. Okay, what pasuk again, please?
Aleph.
Beginning of Lamed Tes. Okay. The Yosef Hurad Mitzrayma V'yiknehu Potafar Saris Paro Sar HaTabachim Ish Mitzri Miyad Miyishmalim. Okay. Asher Horiduhu Shama. Okay, so it says Joseph had been brought down to Egypt. Potiphar, the courtier of Paro, the chamberlain of the butchers, a prominent Egyptian, purchased him from the hand of the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. And let's see, is there a Rashi? Aleph. Joseph had been brought down. It's talking about Yehuda and the wife of Potiphar.
Right,
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the Ishmaelites.
Yeah. Right. Go back to. We'll have to stop in a minute. Go back to Lamed Zion, Pasuk Lamed Vav.
Lamed Zion. Should have kept my finger on the place. Lamed Vav. Lamed Zion. Lamed Vav. And his father cried for him.
No. Where are you? No. Lamed Zion, Lamed Vav.
Now the Midianites had sold him to Egypt. Ay, ay, ay.
All right, what can I tell? I don't want to, I'm sorry, I can't clarify all this for you, but I'm still trying to recover myself. I don't, I'm not, I have to work this out. I don't know what to do. All right.
Well, thank you for making life difficult for me on this Friday morning.
Could I ask a question, please, about this selling of Yosef? Was that legal?
Yeah, I think it was legal. I mean, it was before Matan Torah. It was before Matan Torah.
Why is that relevant?
Hard to know. Yeah, I don't know. What's the question? What's the motivation of your question, or what do you want to?
The question as such just popped into my head, but I think it's something to do with it. If it wasn't legal, then why couldn't he just walk away?
Well, I mean, he was captive. He probably had him in chains.
Probably, yeah, but still, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it makes a difference somewhere if it wasn't legal.
Yeah. Okay, we've got
Anyway.
our.
Forget it because we've got more things to worry about than that.
Yeah, we gotta work these things out. It's not.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, everybody have a good Shabbos, and hope to see you Yom Rishon.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thanks, right.
Okay.
Bye for now. Bye.
Be well.
Good Shabbos. Good
Thank you.
Shabbos. Thank you.
Shabbos, Roy.
Good Shabbos. Are we going with Rabbi Levitt and his normal?
Yes, I'm going to sign into Rabbi Levitt now.
All right then. So that's is that on the one that was sent? Wasn't sent one sent
About a week ago.
a week ago, was it?
That one. Yeah.
Okay. I'll see. I hope I'll get it. If not, well, I'll have
If you
to.
have trouble, Roy, call me
Yeah. Okay.
or email me and I'll send you the link.
Right. Thanks.